You can hear me. Hello, world. It's your girl, B&B. I'm a couple minutes late, but hopefully my lighting is better this time. I got some feedback the last time saying that my lighting wasn't the best. So I hope my lighting is better now. So today's topic is going to be probably like a two-part topic. I'm not sure yet, but I'm naming it Healing Self Part 1. Um, it's going to be, when do you know you're healed enough to get into a relationship? This one hits home for me because I have been on this self-healing journey, and I've been in relationships, um, or even dealt with people and not really known that I wasn't healed enough to move on to another relationship, or even love myself enough to know, like, maybe I need to take some time for myself. So this one's hitting home for me. I took down some notes. So I'm gonna like read the notes that I have. I also have some tips so that you'll know whether you are healed or not, and ready to go on to the next relationship. Um, so I guess we'll just jump right into it, right? So the question is, when do you know you're healed enough to get into another relationship? And so at first I had like, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, 9 to 12 months. But there's really like no timeline, right? Like honestly, there isn't. Because I guess the real question is, are you healed enough? Have you healed enough from your previous relationships and not just the last one to be able to know, okay, yes, I can actually love myself and I can love this person correctly. Okay. Um, so I have like these questions and stuff of like, maybe to ask yourself. Have you taken time for yourself? That's the biggest one. Have you taken some time for yourself by yourself? Not no fuck buddies, no people that you're talking to the side, not no exes, just you with yourself. Have you had time to yourself to think about and reflect on all the previous relationships and even the last relationship, on how you could have done better? So it's like acknowledgement and accountability for the things that you could have done, good, bad, and indifferent. Like, okay, I know how to take care of a man because of X, Y, and Z, massages, or I checked on him every day. But I also knew that I would jump to conclusions. So you would know what you need to work on and what you don't need to work on, right? Um, are you scared to be alone? Like, are you thinking about getting into a relationship just because you don't want to be by yourself and you just want to share somebody's company? Is it because your friends are in a relationship and you just don't want to be left out? You don't want to be the only one who's like single and going home to no one at home. Listen, it's better going home alone than to be going home to like bullshit and having to deal with it just for the sake of having someone next to you, right? Um, so I'm gonna go through some cliches, right? Don't hurt me for this, but it's the truth, right? So they say the best way to get over one person is to jump onto the next person. So not true. First of all, that doesn't work for me because I don't like body counts, right? And I also don't like messing with my exes like that. So yeah, that doesn't work for me. Maybe it works for some people, but it definitely doesn't work for me. And especially for those people who are really truly trying to heal and trying not to go backwards or trying to be bitter. I do believe in this one right here. If you don't know how to love yourself, how do you expect to know to love someone else? You have to truly learn how to love yourself first so that you'll know what a healthy relationship looks like. It's almost like asking your question, like, would I do this to me? If the answer is no, then most likely then they're not loving you correctly. And it's not to say, oh, just give up on that person, right? Talk to them, have that open conversation, the open dialogue, let them know, like, this is what my love language is. I need you to love me like this, and then see if they can reciprocate or you guys can come to a compromise. Um, so this is something that I have wrote. I wish I could just say it, but I can't just say it off the top of my head. So I'm gonna read it, right? Bear with me. So unfortunately, a lot of us were brought up in like toxic environments. We had abusive parents or guardians who were like physically or mentally abusive. And so this is where we end up finding out our love language, or so we think, right? And if that's all we have to go off of, that's not necessarily healthy, because that means if you was brought up in a manipulative or narcissistic environment, you're going to think you have to be that, or you have to find someone like that, and that's the only way you're going to feel true love. Like, oh, they only love me if they're trying to manipulate me. That's not necessarily true. It's not true at all. Not necessarily. It's not true at all. So my point to saying this is, we all have a past, right? And we all have been conditioned to think that this is the way we're supposed to be loved. But until we start to heal those parts of us and proactively change the way we think and know that we deserve better and create healthy boundaries for self and others, is when we truly know to love self or someone else. So my point to that, going back to what I was saying earlier, is we've been conditioned to think like, oh, this is how love looks. Now, until we don't start to look at our past and say, hey, you know what? That was kind of messed up. Like, I don't think I should be hit in order to find love. I don't think someone should be abusing me, and then that feels like love, because obviously it doesn't, right? But until we don't proactively start to think about those things that we probably don't want to think about, we won't make that change. That we need to be like, you know what? I know that that's wrong. I know if I put my hands on someone, that's not me showing them love. He said, what's your love language? Oh my God. We'll get to that in a minute, right? Because, like I said, I'm going to answer your question right now. I have like this hits home with me, right? Because I've been trying to heal. And so I feel like my love language is like being consistent with me and showing me, telling me you love me. Paying attention to me. That's very, very big for me. But I get scared because I be thinking like, okay, I think I'm ready for this. And then something seems so freaking great that I'm like, maybe it's not. Like, I have a problem thinking that everybody's out to get me. Not to get me, but like everybody wants something from me. So, and like, yeah, they do, but they're not it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Maybe they just want my heart. And I'm like, what do you really want though? So I'm still working on my love language. You know what I'm saying? I'm still healing. I'm in this process. So we're going through this together. Okay. I'm not like an expert. This is just like stuff that I find out and things that I've been through. So yeah, we're a work in progress, right? Anywho, so I'm going to give you some tips real quick as to like, when can you like start to think you're ready or know you're ready? And when it's like oh, hell no, you definitely ain't ready, right? So let's do the we'll do the bad first and then the good. Because I like my bad news first and then my good news, right? If you're bitter, you should not be jumping into no relationship. None. You should definitely take some time to get that bitter up out your heart, right? And like start loving you, because don't nobody like a sourpuss, right? If you're depressed and down, other people will help you, but not necessarily the company of a man or a woman. And when I say this, I mean this like sexually. Like if you are doing stuff that you know you wouldn't normally do, like if you have standards and you're like, you know what, I don't just have sex to have sex with anybody, but then you find yourself having sex with people just to have sex with people, just to have that company. Yeah, no, don't do it. Stop now and hope you're using protection. Anywho, you can't be yourself. Like you find yourself trying to impress this person. Yeah, no, you should always be yourself, because the right person is going to love you exactly how you are, good, bad, and indifferent, flaws and all. Matter of fact, they'll love your flaws even more than you do. Okay. If you hate all men and women, it's just one of those like, oh, I can't stand all men are trash and all women are bitches. Like, nobody. No, go back. Go love yourself a little bit more. You got some time. If you can't stop talking about your ex, and I'm not saying like I talk about my exes sometimes, right? But I really try not to talk about them like that. Like And maybe I'm not healed. Shit like this make me think like, maybe I'm not healed, right? But like, don't be sitting there like, oh man, my ex used to do this and my ex used to do that. And like, your whole conversation should not be about your ex, especially like when you're first starting to get to know somebody. You should not be talking about your ex. You should be proactively trying to get to know that person. What do you like? What's your favorite color? What don't you like? How are you when you're angry? Shit like that. Important questions. If you want something to make you feel better about your life or yourself, like if you're just looking for that person to like give you a purpose, like, oh, now I can get up because I know this person wants me to call them. It's like, no, you got to get up because you want to get up for yourself, not for anybody else. You want that new, exciting feeling. We all know that shit phases. Like, you can't just be sitting there like, what are you going to do? Keep jumping from relationship to relationship? Wait, pause. So let me just jump in here real quick. That used to be one of my things. I would jump from relationship to relationship and think, oh, everything's fine because, a way to get over one man is through another man. I wouldn't necessarily be jumping on the other man, but I definitely was enjoying the other man's company. Trying to forget this one, even though I know really I'm thinking about this one. But I'm just over here with this one. And then eventually, obviously, I'll stop thinking about it. Not cool, not okay. Especially, it's like not fair for the other person. Because especially if you good at hiding it and you don't really show them, I was really good at hiding it. So I don't do that shit now. I promise you. Like, I done took some time to heal. So. This was the old Belinda, okay? This was the old Bambi, all right? So don't judge me. But yeah, like, if you've seen my videos, I don't like to make videos and just make it seem like I'm trying to come at anybody or anybody's situation. I definitely put myself and put my own story out there so you guys can know I'm not just talking shit. I'm relating, and I've been through shit too. I'm human too. I have flaws too. So yeah, I'm just doing it a little different this time because it's my first video since, for the new year. So, and I should have probably started with that, but yeah, you'd be overthinking, everything's overwhelming, and yep. So anywho, back to this. If you're angered, if you're angry, if you're sad, if it's just a rebound, these are all reasons not to try to look for a relationship or to be in a relationship. You really should put all of that. Let me go back to this. This was said to me by someone that I wanted. Like, I wanted this person. Like, I was like, I just want this person. And it was funny because we met and it was like, he gave me one of the biggest lessons, right? He was like, all that love that you try to put into me, right? And all that love you try to put into other people, you're finally putting it into yourself. And I was like, that is like amazing. Like, I should put that shit on a shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that love that you try to put into other people, put it into yourself. And then you'll start to realize and you start to see these people in a different light. Like, why was I treating you like you was the man and you was the peasant, like, or the king and you was the peasant? Like, why was I giving you the clout that I was giving you? Now I understand the difference between a king, right, and a peasant. So, thank you for giving me that. Anywho, let's go to the good. Because we've been on the negative for a long time. I don't really like sitting in the negative too long because, I ain't trying to be better. So, when to know that you're ready, right? You're comfortable with who you are. This goes back to self-love. Like, you can be completely who you are without thinking that this person is judging you. And even if they are, it doesn't matter to you because you love self, right? So they're just going to have to get with it or get left out. Move on to the next one. This is something that you want and not something that you need to have. Like, you have to be patient. That's probably another one too. You got to be patient. You have to know and wait for the right one. You're going to be tested. The universe loves to test. So you're going to be tested in so many different ways with new guys, with old guys, with flings, you could imagine it. It's going to get thrown at you. So you have to know and not just go with the first thing that you hear. Because, the universe has a funny way of like throwing people at you that seem perfect. Like, oh, this checks, this checks, this check, this check. And then you're like, it'd be that one thing, but that one thing is super important. That one thing is super important that you're like, I can't do it. And what I'm learning is I don't want to put no one through no bullshit. Like if we're like rocking, right? And shit's just not going good, I don't want to lead you on. I don't want to. So I might just not say anything. Because like, I'm not sure. I don't want to not be sure, and then you're sure, and then it's like, I don't know. I hate feeling confused. I feel like if I know, if the universe is giving me someone that's for me, I am going to know. It is not going to be a fucking confusion. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like, yes, I know because he's telling me and I'm telling him. It's not just a one way, and there's no confusion. Like there really isn't. You're willing to wait for the right person. See, I told y'all, patience. You're ready to give your time and attention to someone else. That's also important. You really have to be ready to, I guess, change a little bit, because if you're so used to being by yourself, that means some of your time you're actually going to have to give up to someone else. And you have to want to do that. If not, you're going to come off like, ugh, what are you doing calling me? They're going to be texting you and be like, oh my God, what is it? So if you're not willing to change that about you, if you're not willing to take that time and just know like everyone's not perfect, so you're gonna have to deal with some shit that you're probably not gonna really like. But if it's not really that big of a deal, then you should just kind of get over it and just know that everybody has their thing, and so that this might just be that person's thing. But yeah, you definitely have to make time, and you definitely have to give attention. Again, this should all be reciprocated. This is not a one-way street. This is a two-way street. And if it's a one-way street, that's the point where you exit out. Like this is not like if you're the one who's doing the one-way shit, you should know to be like, yo, let me leave. But if they're the ones doing the one-way shit, they need to leave. Okay. You aren't being pressured to be in a relationship. That's another big one. The person that you're speaking to and talking to, they should be understanding that there is a period that you get to know people, you know. You got to take the time to really get to know each other. Your likes, your dislikes. You got to see, like, how you guys get angry. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get mad at each other? Like, are you the type to, like, cuss somebody out? Do you swear when you get mad? Or do you get quiet? Like, you know, these are all different types of, again, love languages that that should be spoken about before you guys get into a relationship. Like, you shouldn't be getting into a relationship if you guys haven't gotten mad at each other. Am I wrong for that? I don't know. That's like a Bambi type of thing. For me, I have to have got mad at you and you got mad at me before I could even think about us being in a relationship. Because I got to see how you get mad. And you got to see how I get mad. I got to see your petty level. What's your petty level? Because there's some things that I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm not dealing with that. Like, the Facebook going back and putting subliminals, like, we ain't doing those. We ain't doing those. You screaming in the middle of the street, like, no. So, being at peace with yourself, comfortable being alone. Obviously, these two kind of go hand in hand. You have to be at peace with yourself. You have to make yourself happy. If you honestly, like, and I know it sounds like a cliche, but if you love yourself, you will know what to put up with. You will know the minute somebody comes at you with something that you wouldn't do to yourself, you'll be like, yeah, no, buddy, I'm sorry, not sorry. This is not going to work. I had this 72-hour rule. I'm learning this is not working for me. This is not the first time I mentioned this too. I'm sure you've heard it if you've seen any of my other videos. That doesn't necessarily work because obviously, how can you get to know somebody if you only giving them 72 hours? But it's funny how much you can learn. But I think I used to purposely try to get men mad. Not cool, right? Just to see how they would react. It did teach me a lot. Not gonna lie. I did like the 72-hour rule, but I know that's not cool. I shouldn't do it. So I really don't do that anymore. I try to be more like open. But the minute I don't like something or the minute I'm not feeling something, I'm usually quick to let someone know, like, this is not going good. You got to write them down. This is not going good. I just let them know. I just think it's important to let people know, like, where you stand at. Communication is definitely key. Um, Obviously, for me, just to sum all of this up, because this is pretty much what I have. I had way more stuff, but yeah. The way to sum all of this up is loving yourself, being mature, having those honest conversations with yourself, right? Knowing where you could take accountability at. Like, look at all of your old relationships and be like, okay, what did I do the same in all of them where all of them didn't like it? For me, it was my attitude. Like, my attitude isn't the best sometimes, you know. But I'm working on it. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of some of my attitude is just kind of personality too, but then there's some of it that I can proactively kind of change, and those are the things I'm working on. To jump into conclusion, that's another one for me. You know, I know how to apologize, so I don't have a problem with that. Yes, consistency is key. Consistency is key. It is key for me. Consistency and paying attention is very big for me. Very big for me. But let me I'm like looking at my chat. So probably other people that see this later on be like, what is she talking about? If you go through the chat, you'll see why I'm kind of like jumping off a little bit. But, yeah, I'm about to like wrap this up. If you guys have any questions real quick, you want me to tell you a relationship story? Oh, okay. What kind of relationship story? Whoa, I got a lot. Let me see. Like getting to know somebody or in an actual relationship? Let me see. Long distance. I don't do well with long distance. That doesn't really work for me. I'm a very affectionate type of person, and I love hugs. And I can only do the air hug for so long before I'm like, yeah, I need that. Like, I need it here. Like, I need it here. Like, give me some love. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super affectionate. So long distance doesn't really work for me. One to back my shit up. Woo! He came at me with those. Or she, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What you mean to back my shit up? Wait, this is getting interesting. What do you mean to back my shit up? Like what? Like what? My attitude? I don't understand what you got to be a little bit more specific. Back what shit up? Like my positivity or like, cause yeah, I'm talking a lot. Okay, I don't get it, but what did it teach me? Oh, okay, I didn't even. Okay, my bad. I didn't even see all of that. Okay, what did it teach me? All right, so whew. All right, let's take my last relationship, right? Um, when I got with him, I wouldn't say I was fully healed, right? Um, I wasn't fully healed probably from a few relationships because I kind of was one of those like jump from one relationship to another relationship. But I don't think that I was fully healed when I got with him. But after we broke up, I had noticed that I was bitter, right? I noticed that a lot of the shit that I did in my previous relationships, I was doing with him. Kind of like when I didn't get my way, I would get mad. I would like be argumentative. Um, I did try to communicate, but I wasn't attentive to his love language. I wasn't attentive to the way that he needed to be loved in a sense of communication. So I communicated one way and I'm just expecting him to communicate this way. But that's where our like misunderstanding was because to me, I'm like, we had great vibes in the beginning. And then towards the end, the vibe was like not the greatest because the communication just wasn't there. the love that I was receiving in the beginning, I wasn't receiving there. And I don't think it was lack of him not loving me. I think it was just more of like him not being in relationships prior to that. He hadn't been in a relationship a long time prior to that. He when he went through stuff, he went through things alone, you know, and I just wasn't understanding to that. I'm more of the type of person, if I'm here with you and you're going through something, let me try to help you. Even if it's something that, like if it's financial, even if I can't financially help you, like talk to me about it. Like almost like I want to be a therapist. I want to be everything to you, you know? And like he didn't allow me to do that. And that would get me upset. I would be mad. Like, why? I don't understand. But I don't think it was for me to understand. I think that was something more for him. And I wasn't giving him the space to do that. I just was kind of cut it off. Like, you know what? You can't love me the way I need you to love me. So you got to go. And it wasn't okay. That really wasn't okay. Like, not at all. My advice that I would give, like I said before, or relationship advice is communication is key. Don't jump to conclusions. Proactively listen. If you don't know, ask questions. Like, if you're really mad like that, don't even talk to them. Wait till you like calm down a little bit and then talk, because you don't want to say something and possibly fuck up your future. You know what I'm saying? Or what can possibly become of you and that person. Love like there's no tomorrow. Love each other like there's no tomorrow. Try not to be too upset with the person. Understand that most of the time when people are mad, it's really more of them than it is with you. And even if it is you, try to communicate that. Know when you're wrong. That's key too. Apologize. Like, I don't know. A lot of chicks don't apologize. I'm a big apologizer. If I fucked up, I know how to be like, hey, listen, I fucked up. But you got to be open. You got to be understanding. You got to know that the relationship is not a one way. It is a two way. Like, love them the way you would want to be loved. And if you do that, just that little key, that little clue right there, love someone the way you want to be loved, you shouldn't have a problem. At least you know you did everything that you could do. Then everything else is up to that person, and then it's up to, do you want to deal with them or not? That's totally up to you. But hopefully that's enough. I think I've been here long enough, so I think I'm going to cut it off right now. But you guys see the shirt? You see it. It was done by Jay Sheree. I'm going to put her plug in the link if you guys want anything custom made shirts or sweaters. We want more. Thank you, B33TV. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you. What about bearded men? I love me some bearded men. It collects all the juices. I love bearded men. Don't ask a question that you ain't ready for the answer for. That's all I'm going to say. That's another one, too. Oh, you know what's another one? For relationship advice, give your spouse, your partner, space. Don't be nosy and trying to be going through people's shit. Trust your person. Like, if you don't got trust, what's the point of being with that person? Straight up. If you got to look through their shit, go ahead and look through their shit. You're going to find some shit you ain't ready for. So don't do it. Like, why would you be with somebody you don't trust? I think that's probably should be like up there with number 1, 2, 3. Trust that person. If you don't trust them, then you need to be like finding someone else or having a conversation. Let them know that you're lacking trust, and maybe there's something that they could do to make you feel a little bit better. But yeah, no, you need to trust people. Like, you can't be out here like not trusting people and going through people's shit. That's like invasion of privacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that shit. But thank you, everybody. This is part 1 of Healing Self. So there'll probably be a part 2. This is my first live of the year. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. The chat was actually live today. So, you know, I'm feeling you guys. I'm feeling you. Have a great night, everybody. And please like, subscribe, and comment. Leave me any suggestions. If you have any feedback, I'm always open to the feedback. Again, Jay Sheree is the one who made the shirt. I'll post her link at the bottom. Good looking out, girl. And have a blessed night. Bye.